Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're looking at a striking claim that's been circulating. 193 Poland drones strike Russia's 370,000 Belgorod region forward sites. I want to walk you through what that claim could mean, how to think about the numbers and the actors involved, and most importantly, how to separate verified facts from rumor and amplification. I can't independently verify every detail right now, so treat this as a careful breakdown and analysis of the claim, the likely mechanics behind such an event, and the potential implications on the ground and geopolitically. First, let's unpack the headline. 193 drones suggests a very large unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, operation. If true, that's a swarm or coordinated strike on a scale we've only occasionally seen. Swarms this size can be launched by state or non-state actors, or by discrete military units using commercial and modified drones operating in groups. A drone package of 193 units implies either a sustained multi-wave attack or a single massive coordinated sortie, both of which require significant logistics, launch platforms, command and control, communications, navigation, and either pre-programmed flight paths or real-time remote piloting. That scale dramatically increases both the operational complexity and the potential for damage. Next, the attribution to Poland. Attribution in modern conflict is often contested. States, proxies, and armed groups sometimes carry out strikes that are claimed by one party and blamed on another. Poland is a NATO member, and publicly committing to cross-border strikes on Russian territory would carry enormous diplomatic and potentially military consequences. Historically, when incidents cross international borders, and especially when they involve NATO members, there's a careful interplay of denials, confirmations, and strategic messaging from multiple governments. So, any claim that Poland directly launched 193 drones into Russian-held territory should be treated as a high-salience allegation that requires strong, verifiable confirmation from multiple independent sources. Then there's the target. Belgorod region forward sites. Belgorod sits along the Russia-Ukraine border and has been a flashpoint during the conflict. Forward sites could mean military staging areas, supply depots, artillery positions, or logistical hubs close to the front line. Striking forward sites can disrupt supply lines and degrade the ability of forces to sustain operations. But again, the term forward sites is broad. It could encompass anything from ammo depots to temporary encampments. The humanitarian risk and collateral damage differ widely, depending on the exact nature of the target. Now, the monetary figure, $370,000. That's $3,170 million. When a claim includes a damage estimate this large, a few possibilities come to mind. It could be an aggregated estimate of direct military losses, infrastructure, equipment, vehicles. It could include projected indirect economic losses, disrupted supply chains, reconstruction needs, or it might be an inflated figure used in messaging to emphasize severity. Calculating damage to military infrastructure is notoriously difficult. Replacement costs, loss of serviceability, and cost of downtime are all variables. Whenever you see a large dollar figure attached to a strike, consider the source. Is it an official government estimate, an independent analyst, local authorities, or social media amplification? Each has different levels of credibility and incentives. Let's consider the technical and tactical plausibility for a moment. Large-scale drone attacks can leverage a mix of types: small quadcopters for kamikaze attacks, medium-sized UAVs for surveillance and strikes, and larger fixed-wing drones for range and payload. Coordinating 193 units might mean many small, disposable drones combined with fewer larger platforms. Electronic warfare, air defenses, and early warning systems play major roles. Some drones can overwhelm air defenses through sheer numbers, while others exploit gaps in radar coverage or use terrain masking. If air defenses were bypassed or degraded, that indicates either a failure or a successful tactical adaptation by the attacking force. There's an operational cost to consider for any actor mounting such an attack. Manufacturing, arming, and launching hundreds of drones requires a supply chain and trained personnel. If a state sponsor is behind the operation, they can absorb those costs more easily than a local militant group. If non-state actors are reported to be involved, that raises questions about supply routes, external support, and the risk of escalation with neighboring states. The strategic implications are huge. If a NATO member were credibly linked to strikes on Russian soil, it could trigger a diplomatic crisis, new sanctions, or even a military response depending on the political calculus. Even non-state attacks that cross borders strain regional stability. For Russia, strikes inside Belgorod are both a security concern and a powerful domestic narrative tool to justify countermeasures. For Ukraine and its partners, such incidents can complicate military and diplomatic strategies, especially when maintaining clear lines of responsibility is crucial. Let's not forget the human dimension. Forward sites close to the front often sit near civilian populations. The risk of civilian casualties and displacement is real. Damage estimates that focus only on military hardware risk, minimizing the suffering of civilians who lose homes, livelihoods, or lives. Any responsible review must center the humanitarian consequences and the need for accountability, impartial investigation, and aid for affected communities. A critical part of any analysis is source verification. With fast-moving incidents, social media offers initial eyewitnesses, videos, and claims, but it also fuels misinformation. Key steps to assess such a claim are cross-referencing reputable international news agencies, statements from official government or military spokespeople, independent OSINT analysts, satellite imagery where available, and multiple local sources. Look for corroboration in patterns, timestamps that align, consistent geolocation data, similar witness reports, and credible photographic or video metadata. In the absence of such corroboration, maintain a cautious stance. Another thing to watch for is the framing used by different actors. Official statements from states might emphasize defensive narratives, while opposition or local sources may emphasize victimization or resistance. Media outlets can amplify certain takes depending on editorial lines. It's important to distinguish between verified facts, e.g., explosions reported at specific coordinates, and interpretive claims, e.g., attribution to a specific country or actor without evidence. What about the broader context? Belgorod and similar border regions have been sites of cross-border incidents for months. The conflict dynamics include artillery exchanges, drone reconnaissance, and occasional raids. Each incident feeds into a cycle of escalation and retaliation. For strategic observers, this particular claim, if substantiated, would be an indicator of either a new operational capability or a shift in rules of engagement. It could also reflect increasing reliance on unmanned systems in modern warfare, where plausibly deniable or proxy operations become tools for states and groups to achieve objectives without overt declarations of war. Finally, what should viewers take away? First, be cautious and demand verification. Don't share explosive claims without checking reputable sources. Second, pay attention to the humanitarian aspect. People live and die beyond the statistics. Third, observe how different actors respond. Are there international calls for investigation, or are narratives hardening? And fourth, recognize that technological trends, drone swarms, electronic warfare, and hybrid tactics are reshaping how conflicts are fought and how civilians are affected. If you're covering or commenting on this topic in a video, keep your language precise. Say reported or alleged when attribution is uncertain. Explain the difference between confirmed facts and claims, and encourage viewers to look for updates from multiple reputable outlets. Include context about the region, the actors involved, and the broader strategic implications, and always emphasize the human cost. To recap succinctly, a claim that 193 drones struck Belgorod with $3.17 billion in damage is dramatic and, if true, significant. But extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. We need clear, verifiable reporting from multiple credible sources before drawing firm conclusions about who carried out the strike, the exact scale of damage, and the legal and political ramifications. Until then, treat the report as a developing story. Prioritize verified facts and remember that the most important victims are the civilians who suffer in the fog of war. If you want, I can summarize the latest verified reports on this incident, look for credible satellite imagery, or provide a step-by-step guide on how to verify similar claims using open-source tools. Just let me know which direction you want to go in next.